ladies and gentlemen, and welcome you all to this webinar on importance of discipline and integrity in everyday life. Our esteemed guest is joining us anytime now, so I request all of you to stay intact. Our esteemed guest has already joined the webinar. I request the audience to rise up and stand to the attention of the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, all of you. A very good evening once again, and welcome you all to this webinar, which will be no ordinary, as we have amongst us none other than Honorable Lieutenant General, Lieutenant Governor Dr. Kiran Bedi as the chief guest for today and the LEAD series. LEAD, as you all know, is the Leadership and Entrepreneurship Aspiration Development Program, which is Asian Education Group's flagship lecture series aiming at developing and inculcating the leadership and entrepreneurship spirit amongst the young generation. Before I introduce our guest to all of you, I have a few lines for her. Well, this one is coming straight from my heart and with all due respect. If you allow me, ma'am.
I said, you're giving me a difficult choice.
Very briefly, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
As you wish.
Thank you. And that was the thing about her. She kept on surviving fearlessly. Yes, she fought. She got bruised in the process. Nevertheless, she took up the challenges. She never let anything get her way, be it a change maker or standing against the wrongs. Her will and courage bruised and busted them all. Resilient, a fighter, not by choice, but a warrior at heart. Though she chose for the battles, but made sure that her smile always remains intact. I remember my childhood days. The only counsel which came from my mother was to become like Dr. Kiran Bedi. And trust me, I always wondered why she's wanting me to become someone like that. Later, I realized that was not just my mom's dream, but a dream of every Indian mother who sees a daughter in her and wants her own daughter to be like her. Taking you all through a gigantic and ingenious journey of Dr. Bedi's life. Each sentence that I say now shall be a learning and inspiration for all of you. Born in a tennis-playing family from Amritsar in 1949 to Prakash and Prem Lata Pashavya, Dr. Kiran Bedi is second of their 4 daughters. While still in school, she became a junior national tennis champion at the age of 16 and Asian tennis champion at the age of 22 and was ranked India's #1 of her time. Dr. Kiran Bedi is the first woman in India to have joined the officer ranks of Indian Police Service in 1972. She served in it for 35 years. For her, policing stood for power to correct, power to prevent, and power to get things done. Dr. Bedi was also the first woman to be appointed as police advisor to Secretary General in the United Nations in the Department of Peacekeeping Operations in New York. She is a recipient of the Asia's Nobel Peace Award for bringing about a positive relationship between police and the people. Dr. Bedi is a law graduate, master's, and a PhD scholar with a postdoctoral Nehru Fellowship. She is an author of several books such as I Dare, It's Always Possible, Creating Leadership, and many more. Dr. Bedi has been voted as the most admired and trusted woman in India by Reader's Digest, The Week's Magazine, and others over these years. She has a biopic of her life called Yes, Madam Sir, made by an Australian filmmaker, and a recent documentary on her life was featured in Nat Geo's Mega Icons. She's running two NGOs, India Vision Foundation and Navjyoti India Foundation, which reach out to marginalized sections of the society in education, skills development, in urban slums and rural areas, including prisons. In 2011, she was in the vanguard of the nationwide India Against Corruption movement. In 2016, Dr. Kiran Bedi was appointed as the 30th Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry. Breaking the myths that governors are a rubber stamp, her vision for a prosperous Puducherry made open the closed gates of Rajnivas for the people, paving way for trust, transparency, and accessibility in governance. She has ensured institutionalization of all the good practices as an administrator for prosperity, which is available on her YouTube channel. Currently, she is documenting her experiences in Puducherry in a book, which she will release on completion of her current responsibility. With a very, very warm heart and immense amount of pleasure and excitement, we welcome you, ma'am, to the Asian Education Group yet another time. We hosted you back in 2016 for the convocation ceremony, and we still have all those memories live with us. Before I pass on the stage to you, ma'am, we would like to present a small video tribute on behalf of the Asian Education Group. Can we please have the video?
जागो के अब तीन रंग से सजा है ये आसमां
जागो के अब तीन रंग से सजा है ये आसमां
राग देश धुन गा रही है पवन
राग देश धुन गा रही है पवन ठहर के बोले समय
अमर है देश में
जन्मभूमि ओ मातृभूमि तुझे नमामि हो ओ जन्मभूमि ओ मातृभूमि तुझे नमामि हो
बिखर गई नई सुगंध है वसुंधरा में ये शहीदी का खुमार है परंपरा में
सर्वदा जय हिंद की राहों में कमर है देश में हो जन्मभूमि ओ मातृभूमि तुझे नमामि हो ओ जन्मभूमि ओ मातृभूमि तुझे नमामि हो ओ जन्मभूमि ओ मातृभूमि तुझे नमामि हो
Well, ma'am, that was it. I would request you to please share your invaluable experiences and knowledge with us. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, Garima.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I believe you are coordinated by Mr. Ravi Sharma, your Dean for Corporate Resource. I'm sure he's part of the board there. And I also want to recognize your chairman, Dr. Sandeep Marwa.
They're
And
all with us.
all friends who are, I believe this is a closed door. People are asking me, how can they join you? But you've shut the door. You're not letting people join in. Am I right?
Ma'am, we'll make that available. We'll just check with the IT sector.
Because people are wanting, they're sending me messages. But anyway, then we told them we will try and record it and share it with you on YouTube. Maybe you could also do that.
Sure, ma'am.
Good. Thank you so much. Now you given me two very good, very, very good pillars to speak on. One is discipline and the second is integrity. I just love these two subjects, these two value systems, and I'll share with you what I've worked for you for the last few hours as I refreshed my own reading and my own memory. I want to share with the audience the definition of discipline as given by the Katha Upanishad. It goes back to the BC times, before Christ times, back to our Indian civilization. And it is this which is now being brought in our national education policy, the NAP, which our Honorable Prime Minister has been so much talking about. And it is this what our children need to actually learn. And it says, the Katha Upanishad says, it's 1.3.6. It says, without discipline, there is no way we can control our mind or our senses. The Katha Upanishad explains as follows. Know the self, which is Atman, as the lord of the chariot, and the body as the chariot. So the lord of the chariot is our soul, and the body as the chariot. Know the intellect as the charioteer, and the mind as the reins. The senses are the horses. He who has no understanding, whose mind is always unrestrained, his senses are out of control, as wicked horses are for a charioteer. And they go all directions. He, however, who has understanding, whose mind is always restrained, his senses are under control, as good horses are for a charioteer. This is what Katha Upanishads defined discipline way back in our Upanishads. So it goes back to our ancient civilization and our ancient learning, the Vedic learning, the Upanishad learning. Other meanings to my mind of discipline is to learn. Discipline is also to learn, and discipline is also to teach. As we say, the discipline of management, the discipline of science, the discipline of liberal arts, it's also to teach those disciplines. But it is also a discipline to learn, where you self-learn. That's also an integral part of discipline. But there's another traditional meaning of discipline, which is to behave yourself. Because we say, many times the parents would go back to their teachers, and say, please discipline my child. He or she is not listening to me, discipline him. And there's a story which I'll narrate. And there was an artist who was a very good friend of one person who was a bit of a fool. So this artist, knowing that this friend of his is a bit of a fool, he liked him and he made him his friend. So this artist was a very good musician and used to play that music, and he was that master. So the fool said, why don't you let me learn music? I can do the music. He says, what will you do? He said, I will discipline everybody with your stick. He did not know it was the master of the whole orchestra. He thought it was a stick to discipline those people who were doing the music. So for some, that stick is also another meaning of discipline. So this is the traditional way which is linked with behavior, and the fools don't understand what the larger meaning of discipline is. Let me now also give you the other areas. What does discipline do? When you are disciplined, which means when you go back to the Upanishad's definition, that when you have your 5 senses in a rein, and you're the charioteer, and you see how your five senses work, how you manage your time, how you observe yourself on what you see, what you hear, what you read, what you eat, what you taste, how you live. Your time management is like you're a charioteer of these five organs, which are the horses, and you don't let them go astray. You use your time on social media to go to the sites. You go to Netflix. You know what? They give you, click on Netflix, and they will tell you your choices. I have a choices of the movies, and they know what I'm looking at. They know if I look at, there are all kinds of movies there, all kinds of movies. And even the Netflix knows mechanically, technologically, the movies I choose. So today, the world is so transparent. The sites I access. So it's how I use my five senses. Even the Netflix knows, and it says, Kiran, your choice. It's so interesting. It says, Kiran, your choice. So it chooses what I choose. It chooses for me what I choose. So all those of us who got our five senses reined in, it says, discipline helps you channelize your energy. It doesn't dissipate. It channelizes the energy. It also helps you develop an attitude. Now, when you channelize your energy means if a student who's disciplined in academics will focus on education and not waste the time on gossiping away or gallivanting out. So it's channelizing the energy to achieve a particular sport, like a sportsman, channelizing your energy to exercise, to practice, to go to the gym, etc. Secondly, it develops an attitude, because once you're channelizing your energy towards positivity, you're developing an attitude of achievement, positivity. There's nothing negative about it. You may have your fears of whether I'll win or no, but it's channelizing energy towards a positive attitude. And it cannot be done. Third thing is it increases your focus, because then you have to be focused on what you're wanting to do, what you're focusing your energy on. It certainly improves your mental health. See, those people who you've been hearing about who had issues of mental health in the recent past obviously lost out on discipline completely, called personal discipline or character discipline or habit discipline or time discipline. And then comes it maintains peace in society. When you're disciplined, you walk on the pavement, you wear a helmet while on the road, you observe the traffic rules, you don't spit, you maintain social distances in COVID times, you keep yourself sanitized, you don't get into the crowd. It's all about discipline, and that maintains peace in society. In fact, to my mind, today's COVID can be disappeared from this country within next 10 days if everybody decides that I will not be unclean, I will wear a mask, I will maintain a social distance. Even if I'm invited for a gathering, I will choose to go or not go. And even if I have a wedding in the house, I will not choose to invite people, but I'll maintain social distancing because these are different times. The country of 1 billion, the COVID will vanish when we do not understand every COVID patient costs huge amount of cost on the national exchequer. And India's, instead of that treatment of COVID, we could have spent money on investment of infrastructure. So it's all about discipline. See, look at the kind of savings the country would have if it is disciplined. But remember, it's not 1 billion discipline, it's one at a time. Everybody has to wear a mask. I can't wear a community mask. You can't have a community mask. So these are the benefits of being disciplined. Now you've given me another way of looking at it, is that discipline is a bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's a bridge. Here's a goal and here's an accomplishment. And when you're disciplined, you connect the goal with the accomplishment. But if you don't have the discipline, goal is here and there is no accomplishment. But you want to accomplish, then you have to add it, link it with discipline. So that is how discipline is like a bridge between goals and accomplishment. Now let's look at integrity, which is my very favorite thing. We sometimes start feeling that integrity is only about financials. No, it's not that. When you and I hire people now, and we're looking for men and women of integrity, you're not looking only at financial integrity, because that's not tested yet. And one of the richest man, who's a stockbroker, he had said, any person who he's hiring, and it says the man is very intelligent, he's very well read, and he is very hardworking, he's very sharp. And he says, the only question I ask is he trustworthy? And number two, if he's not trustworthy, which means he doesn't have integrity, he says, I don't want him. I don't want him. Even if he's very bright, I don't want him. Because anyone without integrity, all intelligence and all other qualities are sifa. It doesn't matter to him. So integrity has a larger definition, which we must understand. And according to me, and according to the research, it says integrity means being gracious. It also means respectful. It also means being trustworthy, which I mentioned. It also means being very hardworking. It also means being very self-driven with a sense of responsibility. It also means being very helpful. And it is all of this, and patience. So that the point here is integrity is integral to all these things. Integrity is just not financial. Oh, aise ka bada imandar hai. But the man is rude. The man is crude. He's not hardworking, but he's honest, but he's zero in effectiveness, etc. That person does not have integrity. So integrity comes with all these issues. So it's a question of moral principles of right and wrong. Moral principles of right and wrong. Because remember, there are certain times, sometimes it's considered as conviction, and you think that is what is right or wrong. You had Hitler, who at one time thought Jews were coming in the way of the economic development or had caused the downfall of Germany. And look what he did. What he did, according to him, he was right. But on moral principles, he was a killer and the killer of the world. So it's a moral principles of being right and wrong. I also wish to say that there are other qualities of people who are embedded, who have integrity. They are humble. They enjoy these qualities, men and women with integrity. Now, these qualities go with integrity. It's humility. Second is natural goodness. They are good people. They are humane, they are humble, and they are good people. Third, they're very authentic. They don't tell lies. They don't tell you one thing and do something else. They don't have double faces. They are authentic in their speech, in their action, and their behavior. That's why they're called good people. And that's why they have to be humble. And then they're honest. Honesty now is a part of their character trait. They are financially honest in word and deed. And certainly they are trustworthy. These are the qualities of people of integrity. They also don't have rude arguments. They don't do rude arguments. They're very careful on what they say. These are very important factors of integrity. It also means in the end, it is doing the right things in all circumstances when no one is watching you. It's good to be having integrity when somebody's watching you. But you are obeying the traffic rules, you're observing the laws, you're observing proper discipline while no one is watching you. To me, to them, this is the real definition of means of doing the right thing is all circumstances. Now, people of integrity and discipline, what do they get? They strengthen relationships. It strengthens your relation. What do you get out of it? It gets you lifelong friends. It gets you lifelong relationships. It helps build self-awareness. That's important. It broadens your mind, and it, most of all, keeps you happy. In the end, all the purpose of all that you do, all that you want to do is that you want to be, in the end, happy and not be sad. So a person of discipline and a person of integrity, most of all, gets what we all yearn for in the end, is to be happy, is to be healthy. They will be happier and they'll be healthier people who observe discipline and integrity in their lives. I thought this is the way I could principally understand. Now, when I explain this, and if I look back at my own life, without I knowing that at the age of 71, I'll be doing a webinar and I will define the benefits of discipline and integrity. I did not know this, but I only knew one thing, that this is the right way to live. This is the right way to achieve. You've introduced me as somebody who'd played tennis, somebody who had won tennis tournaments. Could not have been without discipline. It's like getting up at 5 in the morning, and before I go to school, I go miles of running. My father on a mobike, and I am running around, running to practice. And then I go back again to my classes, and then I study hard and focus, and I stay focused. And then I play tennis while using time between two periods. Nothing but discipline. I used to go with a skirt on my in my college or my school, because I wore shorts below it. So the moment I would have one period, while others would go to the canteen to eat a samosa, I would take my skirt off and go to the tennis court and play. So it was so much of personal discipline. Why? Because there was a focused attention that I will like to achieve something in my life, which is more than along with the academics. So without this kind of discipline and focus, you cannot achieve so much in 24 hours, because 24 hours is very, very limited. Similarly, integrity issues. What do you focus on? If you're wanting, do you want by hook or crook a trophy, or by cheating, or that you want to go the unscrupulous way to earn money? No, I want to earn my way. Sports taught me that to win a trophy, you have to prepare, compete, and deserve. I think that in the end, and the time management again, I remember my playing days while after finishing my tennis match, how I returned to my room to study for my classes, which I was missing, while my other friends went to loud music and they came back home tired, while I would be mentally ready for my next day tournament and my match, while others would get exhausted, while I would have generated energy, I would have trained myself and focused to win my next day, and even study and taken my exam when I came back next, while the others would have dissipated their energy. At that time, they used to laugh at me and say, "Bada ye apne aap ko bada samajhti hai. Ye badi studious hai. Ye koi friend nahi banati. She's not a good friend." And today, they're all of my friends. They are my friends because they love me for wherever I am, because I'm their friend too. And they're all connected with me through my network, and they all love me. So question is, and then now they say, "Kiran, I wish we would have also done what you did." But at that time, they were not listening to me. But at that time, personal discipline of making my choices was so very clear. There was so much of clarity that I knew why I'm doing what I'm doing. This battery which is running low. So I think these are, so I was, to me, these are the elements of integrity and honesty. I've had my 10-minute share. I now go back to you, Garima, for you to come back to manner in which you do. We can take up more Q&As.
Sure, ma'am. Actually, I was so much into it that each and every word you've spoken, it's more like I want to know more. I want to learn more. And there's a story behind every word that you're displaying. And I think this is Students' Day. They're more inquisitive and they have lots of questions to ask. We can start with the Q&A. We have few students live with us. Can we have Priyanshu Raj, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Priyanshu.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, Priyanshu.
This is Priyanshu Raj from Bihar. Ma'am, your career has been so colorful. What inspired you to become also an author? And giving us such an inspiration and very beautiful books such as Himmat Hai, As I See.
What inspired me to do what?
Become an author.
Oh, author is an
Yeah.
expression. Writing is an expression, like poetry is an expression. Art is an expression. Music is an expression of the creativity within. It's an expression. Let me tell you, even a career is an expression. When you go out to work, it's an expression of your creativity within. You sometimes don't go to work to earn. You go to work to express yourself. So writing to me is an expression. It's a thought which gets poured out and that gets written. You may read it, you may not read it, doesn't matter. I may write my own blog not to publish it, but I write it to get it off my chest because I want to say it. I want to feel it. And then it's good to write it out because your thoughts change and then you can revisit it to say, on such and such date, this is how I felt. So therefore my books, As I See, that whole volume, it's about a few volumes of As I See, nothing but every piece is 1,000 words of essays. When I was invited to events and I was fascinated to see how things are, like for instance, I'll give you one example, one chapter of my book, As I See. I went to a dance event, a school dance event, and I saw the girls doing a great dance, right? And you know what happened? Rather than focusing on the best dancer who's always in the center, I watched the dancers on the sides, how they were coping up, And I also watched the dancers who were behind them, how they were coping up. And then I came and wrote a piece called what I felt. Rather than focusing on the best dancer, I focused on those who had been added on to make the band bigger. And that is a chapter by itself as an essay. So I used to come and write and get over. And that also came through fortnightly columns I used to write for the Hindustan Times and the Tribune. So I compiled them. So for me, writing was a expression. So remember, writing, painting, music, creativity, poetry, all is an art. It's an art.
Thank you, ma'am. I think this is also learning for our students that they have to be very cautious. They have to be open to experiences, isn't it? They should look for new learnings.
Oh, without this doing, you will not learn. Book can inform you, but it is the doing which will experience you.
Yeah.
And I've been exposed to very varied experiences in my childhood, traveling across the length and breadth of the country as a teenager, art, all-rounder activities in the college, athletics, drama, debates, NCC, declamations, athletics, competitive sports, camps. I did everything possible, adventure. So the more I did, the more I learned and the more all-rounder I became. For the every year, I walked away with the all-rounder trophy. And remember, despite playing tennis, competitive tennis, yes, I was academics and because of discipline, personal discipline, enjoying whatever I did, but just doing the right thing at the right time.
Right. Indeed, a very beautiful thought, ma'am. Next, we have a student named Anushka Singh. She has a question for you, ma'am. Anushka, you can please ask your question.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, Anushka?
Ma'am, my question is, being the first IPS woman officer, what were the challenges you faced and how did you overcome it?
Look, I was enjoying it. The challenge was for others who didn't believe a woman could make it into the Indian Police Service. So for me, it was not a challenge. For me, personal challenge was, how do I live up to my own expectations? Because I had my own expectations of serving people well. And when I used to find resources very inadequate, infrastructure very poor, like COVID times, where our medical infrastructure has not been able to match the needs of the growing number of cases. And it angers you. It worries you. How do I meet the challenges of the people? Similarly, as a police officer, there were never many men to patrol, to check crimes against women, to check crimes of night. What do I do? While police people think, oh, now she's a deputy commissioner of police, she will look after me, we can go to sleep. Well, how could I go to sleep? I have no men on the job. Nobody's watching you. Nobody's securing you. I could not go to sleep. Believe me, I used to patrol 5 times at night, every week, 5 times at night. I was out on the road trying to have chowkidari system in place, hiring people, telling resident welfare stations, you give me chowkidars, you pay, because I don't have a policeman. So I used to go out on the road and tell them, I'm awake, you also be awake. Give me chowkidar. Then villages would not give me chowkidar. I would go to villages and say, okay, give me young men. I will train them how to patrol at night. My challenge was, how do I meet the expectations of the people? I'm wearing a uniform. I'm supposed to keep them secure, but I can't tell them I don't have policemen. And I can't go to the government till you give me policemen. I cannot. I have to do with what I have. So my challenge was, how do I meet my own needs of the responsibility which was entrusted to me? And believe me, if I had 4 policemen in one police station, or sometimes only 4 were left for night patrolling, I had 40 villagers patrolling at night. And those 40, I used to meet at night 5 nights a week. Because if I would not meet them, why would they do my job? So I involved them and I told them, मैं आपको मिलने आऊंगी. अब हाँ मैडम आप मुझे मिलने आओगे, रात को मिलने आओगे, हाँ मिलने आऊंगी. I had to go and meet them to tell them you're not alone, I'm with you. So I had to meet my own expectations and the expectations, and I'm telling you, this has been a part of all of my government service. How do we meet the expectations of the people who are trusting you? Public service is a work of trust. It's not just a job. It's taking people's trust. It's taking people's responsibility. It's not an ordinary job. Public service is not, it's not cushy. It's not a cushy, comfortable chair. Sorry, it's a big responsibility on your shoulders. When you take a public service job like this, it's a fulfillment of a very major responsibility. And the challenge before you is, where do you get your resources? Because the budgets will have to wait. Manpower recruitment will have to wait. You have to make do with what you have. That's been my challenge, not only in the beginning, till now. While people, of course, initially said, how will a woman succeed? Well, within very few months, they understood a woman can succeed. That they got the message. But I think the challenge is always you and your expectations of yourself.
Thank you,
And
ma'am.
live up to the trust of the people.
Thank you.
Well, I think this is coming back to integrity. You must have done the job for the sake of it, but you went all the way extra miles, serving, knowing the people, doing something for them. It talks about integrity at large, I guess.
Absolutely. This isn't, it's a fulfillment of a responsibility. Otherwise, don't take it. Don't take it. Do your business then. So I may lose, but again in business, if you're chief CEO of a company, can you walk away? Can you walk away? You have to fulfill the needs of your employees. You have to take care of them. So every position has an own element of responsibility. You're not an individual anymore. You're by yourself. As you move up the ladder, in fact, it said, that's what I think somebody said, Indira Gandhi said, when you're a leader, you're alone at the top.
True.
Sometimes I am alone at the top. When it comes to consequences, I'm alone at the top. But when it comes to rewards, they are there for sharing. But when it comes to individual responsibility, you're alone at the top. You can't say, unhone nahi kiya. Well, sometimes I may not have been able to fulfill the aspirations. That's why you don't want to fail. You want to make everybody succeed. So I think it comes out a sense of very strong integrity.
Great.
Conscientiousness is integrity.
True, ma'am, indeed. We have a next student, Kadam Hans, who would ask a question from you, ma'am. Kadam, I request you to please enable your camera. Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, Kadam.
Ma'am, how to keep working hard even when things are not going your way?
Things will never go, they will always go your way if you work hard. The only thing is that you have to know what you're doing. What are you investing your time in and how are you doing it? And make mid-course corrections if they're going somewhere wrong. But hard work never goes waste. Hard work gives you its own experience. You may not get the result as you're looking for, but hard work it gives you an experience by itself. And experience cannot be learned without working hard. You may succeed, you may not. How does it matter? None of the discoveries in the world were achieved the first time. They've been experimented and experiment. That's why many subjects have experiments. That's why you go to a laboratory. That's what laboratories are meant for. And they take their own time. Isn't the injection now which they're looking for an injection coming up for COVID virus, isn't it taking time? And some are succeeding, some are not succeeding. So is that hard work a waste? All trials take you closer to your goal. All that needs is your right intention and right skills. Put them in. So no hard work ever. Never doubt hard work. Never doubt hard work.
True. I think this is a lesson for all of us. Not restricted to age, but all of us. We all need to work hard. Next, we have Poonam Narang with us. Poonam, can you please enable your camera and ask your question for ma'am?
Yes, Poonam.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
Very well.
My question to you is that you are an inspiration and a role model globally. Right. What I would like to know is that what inspires you in life?
It's the value for time. I have a day, what is it for? It's the value for time, because that's going to go anyway. I can waste it or invest it. It's my value for time. And remember, you are tomorrow what you did today. So why should I waste it? If tomorrow comes, then I reap the rewards. If tomorrow doesn't come, I go as a winner anyway.
Right.
Thank you.
It's a great message. I think we all are looking forward to rewards all the time, and then we stop. Next, we have with us Monica Pundir. She has a question for you, ma'am.
Yes, Monica.
Monica, you're not audible to us.
Switch on your-
I hope you've unmuted yourself. Okay, meanwhile, we can take the next student. You can check the technicalities at your end. Can we have Jaya Bharti, please?
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you're audible.
Good evening, ma'am. Hello.
Yes, Jaya, you're audible. Please go ahead, ask your question.
Good evening, ma'am. It's an honor to be here. My question is, as we are aware that discipline and integrity is a part of morality and ethics, I want to know how you have seen the changes from the beginning of your career to as of now.
I see a variety in the community. Everybody is a product of their own experiences and choices, and you don't control them. You don't control them. You have to take them as they come. The only thing is, as a society, it pains you when you have to deal with people with delinquent behaviors. It pains you because it takes away a lot of social energy, and it has social costs. So yes, it does. And why should we be the way it is? In fact, if we would give quality parenting, quality education, quality environment, we'd have a better, more law-abiding society. Men and women with more ethical behaviors. See, today, for instance, it is taking us so much of energy, Monica, for forcing people to wear a mask. Why should it take us so long? When it is being said by the leader of the country and repeatedly by various people saying we need to check COVID, we need to have this. Why should it take us so many months and months? Today's news is the Pune police has collected 1 crore of rupees fine for no mask wearing in Pune. Why? Why should it be done? Why, when that's your mutual survival? Because your wearing a mask is protecting me, my wearing a mask is protecting you.
Right.
Why should it take you so long? It does pain and it takes away a lot of energy and resources which could have been invested elsewhere.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for beautifully answering this question and letting our students know that what is the difference between right and wrong. They should always know that. We have a little segment here, ma'am, a quick rapid fire. We would ask few questions from you. If you don't mind, shall we start?
Yes, don't make them too difficult.
Okay, yes, I'm sure. They'll not be difficult for you. Okay, what is that one thing for you which is very essential for living a balanced life?
Well, good health.
Good health. And by good health, do you mean mental health or physical health?
Total. It's a totality. It's mind, body, soul.
Okay. Your biggest achievement
Is a attitude, my positive attitude.
Great. Dr. Bedi, in her free time, does
What I like to do at that time.
Okay, so you're more spontaneous as a person. That's great to know. What is that one word which comes to your mind when you hear the following words? Competition.
What comes to my mind? Competition. When competition comes.
Yes.
Oh, my good old days when I did compete. When I competed, when I played tennis, that's when it reminds me of that. I don't compete anymore. I collaborate now. My days of competition are over.
So great saying. I think competition has turned into collaboration for you now. Great. Love.
Sorry?
Love. What comes to your mind when you listen to this word love?
Mummy.
Great. We all know that, I think. Fear. Does fear even exist in your life? This is an honest question. I want to know.
Analyze it.
That was very deep, I think. Education.
Forever.
Okay, so maybe there's an infinity sign in front of that. Power, money, fame, or respect. Which one is most necessary according to you?
Respect.
If you had one day of no commitments and no responsibilities, what would you be doing?
Do all what I like.
Okay, so being with the family, ma'am, we've seen a lot of your videos spending time with your family and enjoying.
Yeah, there's plenty to do. It's the way you feel. I go by the feeling of the day. I may exercise the whole day. I may read the whole day. I may watch a movie for a day. It depends what I feel like. I go by my feeling.
Okay, so your instincts.
I may write the whole day.
And all this comes back to discipline, I guess.
It's a feeling. I think there's a feeling. What do you want to do today?
Great. One career advice that you can give to our students, a general career advice.
They must know that time is flying. If they don't capture it now and make the most of it, then they look back to say they wish they'd done this.
Right. Ma'am, we have one student here who has a question for you. Aryan Raghav, can you please switch on your camera?
A very good evening, ma'am.
Yes.
So my question for you is, what is that one tip you would like to give to the youth so that we start looking at things very positively?
One tip, so that they look at positively.
Yes.
It's always make better choices. When you have, life is all about choices. Look, that's the difference between mankind and the animal kingdom. Animal kingdom doesn't have choices. It's a very structured life. You know, they have their own community and it's very few choices. They have no choice actually. The difference between human being and an animal is nature has gifted us with the discretion of choices.
Yes.
Animal world doesn't. So
Yes.
exercise your choices very carefully and value them. And you will be a product of your choice. Whatever you choose, you are a product of your choices. Personal life, professional life, reading habits, eating habits, living habits, time spending habits, all is your choice, not anybody else's. And you will be reaping the rewards of it, nobody else.
Ma'am, actually, our students are here. They're all in waiting. We just want to know if we have more time, then we can take more questions from our students.
No time, no? Because we have to go to an inauguration of a very good fencing website of India's #1 woman fencer. What's her name?
That's great.
Bhavani Devi. I'm about to launch a website of Bhavani Devi. She's India's first fencer and a brilliant woman, very strong woman who's preparing herself for the Olympics medal 2021. So I'm about to launch her website at 6 o'clock. She's waiting for me.
Great, ma'am. We look forward to that website. And I think if we can't take all the students, one general message for all our students who are here with us, if you can share that message with them.
A message? I said that. I already said that later, don't answer, I wish I'd done that when you were at this age. Say, I did it knowing that the time is flying.
Right. So they
You want
should
to read more? Read more. You want to learn more IT? Learn more IT. You want to learn something extra? Learn that now. Spend more time with family? Do it now. Care for your parents? Do it now. Don't regret later, because it's not going to come back. Because what you are here today, you were something else earlier. You were in a primary school. You were in the middle school. You were in the 9th standard. Now you're in college. So remember, what you are what you did earlier. So if you want to make it better, do it better now. Don't regret later. Because this time is not going to come back. That's how I look at my work every day. Why I give my everything to every single day is because I know this day is not going to come back. I don't want to regret later. I wish I'd done that. I don't want to say, I wish I'd done that. I say, I'm happy I did it.
Great. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being so spontaneous and extremely affable with us. Each word that you spoke today is surely an eye-opener for all of us present here, including me. And it's a moment of honor for us. And I want to take this opportunity to express our gratitude towards you for always making yourself available for Asian Education Group. As a token of appreciation, we would like to present a memento to you. Can we please have the memento?
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Lead Corporate Lecture Series. Oh, very nice. Thank you so much. I accept it with all my heart. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We look forward to a very hearty and continued association with you.
Thank
you.
Thank you, Garima.